Mark, do you still want to wait a minute to see if Chelsea
Uh,
comes, or you?
Nah, well, we could start, I think, because we have a
She
local.
does have access or keys to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, she was waiting there.
Okay. Cool. We'll call to order at 5:45.
All right, roll call. Chair Martin Gilmore,
Here?
Erica Kriesel. Here. Leah Moran,
Here.
Stacy Potash. Here. Excused, we have Vice Chair Kyle Conrad and Shane Smith and Catalina Johnson. Not present right now, Councilmember Chelsea Nunacamp and Englewood School Liaison Emily Ancona. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Event Supervisor Tony Arnoldi, and guests, we have Deputy City Manager Tim Dodd, Lucia Magnuson with Communications, and Vanessa Davis with Communications.
All right, on to approval of the minutes for the last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from last month.
Have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, moving on to new business. Creative Crosswalks and Signal Wraps Program, Deputy City Manager Tim Dodd.
And do you think that you have the PowerPoint?
I do.
Is it okay then if I just
Yep.
ask you to advance? Well, it's great to be here tonight. I've been with the city almost 4 years, and I've had a chance to go to a lot of boards and commissions, but I've never been to this one, and so I'm really happy to be here tonight. I recently, in January, started overseeing and working with the department, Parks, Recreation, Library, and Golf, and I have for the past year worked with our Public Works Department, and so I often look for ways that departments can work together and collaborate, and so this is a project that really heavily involves both of these departments. I know this is obviously a project that you are all, those of you who are on this commission, were involved in a while ago, and so we're really happy to bring it back to you. I think Christina and Debbie at the last meeting you had in April kind of gave you a teaser that we were going to be coming tonight. Tonight, the purpose of tonight is to really kind of go over what we plan to do to get your feedback. And then if we do get your feedback and we move forward, we actually hope to come back in June and actually may have a few applications for you to look at, and that would be super exciting. So next slide, please, Debbie.
Right.
Yeah, so in this goal, right, it's kind of jumbled, but there's a lot of things we want to do. So I am by no means a placemaking expert. But if you go to cities kind of in the metro area or cities on your travels, placemaking, it's a very technical term, or can be, but it really means that a place where people feel like they're in a place where they want to be. They're in it, so things like creative crosswalks, signal wraps, maps, banners, art, all contribute to the feeling of placemaking. So in the metro area, I think there are a lot of cities that do a good job with it. We're working on it. We've done a lot of work in the last couple of years. Golden, I think, is an example that's done a pretty phenomenal job with it. Littleton has done a solid job with it. Arvada, Old Town Arvada, continues to do a good job with it. But there's a lot that goes into it, right? So some of it is cleanliness, it's safety, but art plays a major role in it. And I actually got some statistics that I'll show you in a few minutes that actually focus on how public art, particularly crosswalks, can actually contribute to some of the other goals the city has related to pedestrian safety and livability and things like that. So next slide, please. So this is the slide. So ta-da, that I was describing previously. This actually comes from a study that I believe was the Bloomberg network that did. But the city's embracing something called Vision Zero that you may have heard of before. But Vision Zero is basically and Dr. Cog, which is the Denver Regional Council of Governments, several years ago did a study on it. Denver has adopted it. Several other cities nationwide and worldwide, it actually originally came from Sweden, have adopted this concept. But basically it's about having zero severe injuries and fatalities related to traffic through 3 ways of doing it. So one is education, the 3 E's. One is education, one is engineering, and one would be really embarrassing if I don't remember the 3rd E, which is education, engineering, and enforcement. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but the study that I found did show that having these creative crosswalks does lead to a reduction in fatalities and other challenges related to pedestrian safety. So concepts of Vision Zero have been adopted by council as part of the strategic plan. So next slide, please. Yeah, so as, was anybody on this commission in 2019 when you last talked about it?
No.
All right, cool. That's awesome. So we have some new folks as well. So I went through and actually give Debbie all the credit. We were able to find all the files from back then. Our previous public works director, Maria D'Andrea, worked with another board that we have that's called ETAC, which is the Englewood Transportation Advisory Board, to work on parameters around crosswalks that eventually were approved by council. But it also involved the concept of creative crosswalks, was adopted in by council in the fall of 2019. And then this board did work with MOA, the Museum of Outdoor Arts, which was located in this building. One of their locations was. They still exist. They still have some art here. Their main office, their main campus right now is in the tech center next to Fiddler's Green. So Steve Ortega, whose name you may hear, he is the capital projects manager in public works. So he's actually the project manager for the Creative Crosswalks program. So he and I actually met with Tim Vaca from MOA a couple weeks ago to kind of download on things that work, things that didn't work well, some changes that we could make. Tim Vaca is also, once we do, so we hope to actually get the application out in about 2 weeks. Once we do get the application out, he's offered to share it with some folks in the art community. Next slide, please. Yeah, so one of the things we had a big meeting about a month ago internally, and one of the main things that I really want to do is I want to focus on how we can engage different stakeholder groups in getting ideas for crosswalks. So I believe in the last iteration of this, we had asked applicants to pay for it. We're no longer doing that. Under this, if we do have the funding and it is approved, approved by you, applicants who are approved, the city will pay for the cost of it. So we have $70,000 in change that's been identified for this year. We are, as part of the capital improvement budget, the CIP, we're asking council for $100,000 for this program for next year. But right now we do have $70,000 for it. But we really want to make sure that we're engaging a variety of stakeholders, because we really would like to see crosswalks and placemaking and the signal wraps happen across the city. And so when we had this internal meeting, we have a neighborhood resources officer. You probably have met before, Madeline Hinkfist. She was at the meeting. Darren Hollingsworth, who's our economic development manager, was at the meeting, because we really want to empower city staff members who have professional networks and personal networks in certain areas, or engaging them. And so we want Darren, for example, he's ready to go out and talk to businesses about this. Madeline's ready to talk to neighbors about it. As I mentioned, we've already engaged the MOA, Museum of Outdoor Arts. I have a meeting on next Thursday with our Englewood Downtown Development Authority director to talk about also areas for partnership in this, but we're really excited about what it could look like. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the specifications that were already approved by council in 2019. We don't necessarily, obviously council could weigh in if they want to change them, but they're mostly what I would call industry standard. And these are ones that apply specifically to creative crosswalks. One difference though is in the last program from 2019, people were allowed to put creative crosswalks in where a crosswalk didn't previously exist if it met the other specifications. We're recommending though that so Steve Ortega's worked in a system we have called Cartograph. It's our asset management system. So he's actually taken these criteria and he's basically applied them to all the crosswalks that we already have that would be eligible. So when the application goes live in a few weeks, it's actually going to have a list of all the eligible crosswalks that already exist. So when someone applies for a creative crosswalk, they'll say, I want it at this cross section or this street based on what we already have. We just thought that we already had enough crosswalks in the city that were already identified for this to be a good starting point. Not to say that it couldn't be changed or added in the future. The other things that are here, like no octagons, triangles, or shapes, no logos, text, or advertising. These were in the previous iteration, and we have a brand new traffic engineer who will be involved in this. We also have a traffic team that's prepped for this work. We obviously, safety is paramount, and so we want to make sure that even though we want to be cool and creative with this work, that it obviously meets different standards of the state, county, and state and federal laws and regulations around crosswalks. Next slide, please. So our timeline, this is kind of our truncated version of what we hope to accomplish. So we've already developed an internal working group that met exactly a month ago. Steve has already completed the asset inventory. He's actually gone out and taken photos. We have 2 current creative crosswalks, one that needs a little bit of touch up and one that was ripped up by a utility cut. One of the other great things about having Steve do this work, though, is that he's been with the city for several years, and so he knows who to talk to about different things. And so he actually met with utilities, one of the deputy directors there last week to kind of talk through what, planned maintenance. And obviously we do, obviously pipes freeze and we do have challenges that happen throughout the years, particularly in the winter. But Steve is trying to get ahead of that and identify some potential areas for challenge. So he's working on all that now. We've already, thanks to Steve, we've identified funding for this year, 2024, obviously. We're asking council for funding for next year. That process really just started a few weeks ago. We hope to open the call for artists with the application form May 10th. And then we do hope to have a few for you in June. That may not happen. If it doesn't happen, we'll bring them to you in July or when we get them. What we're looking to do right now is we're looking to have a big push in May and June and try to get some applications then. Depending on how many we get and what funding looks like, we may keep the application open indefinitely. And then just on a rolling basis, bring them to you for your consideration. But we're looking to really do a big launch this summer. And then if we do get some that come in by the end of June, we do actually hope to be able to install them starting in mid-July. Next slide. That's it. So really, again, we're here tonight just to get your feedback, hopefully your support, and would love if you have any suggestions on the program.
Do you have like priority crosswalks that you're looking at?
No, so only in the sense that we do have crosswalks that wouldn't meet the criteria, so those have already been weeded out. Other than that, we're not prioritizing them. We really want folks who kind of have ideas that kind of come forward, and so obviously we would love them in our business areas, but there's also neighborhoods where they would be fantastic. We also want to partner with the schools. We'd love to have a few around the schools. There's a program called Safe Routes to School. It's a national program, but the state of Colorado is a grant program for it. We've already identified a few Safe Routes to School for Englewood, mostly elementary, in the middle school. And so it would really be nice to have some of those on those routes if possible, but no, we don't have any specific priorities.
I know that TDA is putting in some crosswalks down at like Girard and those places, and they kind of had a cohesive theme. Is that something that is downtown going to be doing that kind of thing? Like
yeah, well, so I'm meeting with their director on Thursday to find out more exactly about what they're planning to do. But yes, there are some examples I've seen from around the world that have either their intersections or there's multiple crosswalks in the same area that all kind of have one theme, and that's definitely something we could also explore and look at.
So are you just doing crosswalks right now and traffic wraps maybe later?
Sorry. So what's interesting is the focus, and Tony, that's a great point, because as I was working on this, I realized that it almost seems like it's mostly about crosswalks. That's just really because there's more specifications and requirements with the crosswalks, but no, the signal boxes are also going to be open. And Steve also has gone around and identified all the different signal wraps that we currently have, ones that are missing wraps, ones that need new wraps, and so those will also be part of the program when we launch it.
Yeah, I saw they installed a bunch of new ones down on Hampden. Yeah, cool. This is great.
Yeah, I love this. Are you guys do you guys have a map of where you're thinking about placing all these, or?
Yeah, so really just right now, Steve has mapped out in Cartograph, which has a GIS graphic information system component, a map component. He's basically mapped out all the eligible crosswalks. And so then when people go to apply, they'll get a list as part of the application of all the different crosswalks.
And then
So-
they decide?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, but based on the criteria that we've already filtered.
Is that something that we can look at?
Yeah, so you will be, our intent is that you will be voting to say yea or nay on any applications that come forward for either program. And part of your recommendation could be, if they say, I want to do it at this crosswalk, but you think, okay, for whatever reason, it would actually be better here, that would be a recommendation back to the applicant, and they could say, okay, I'm willing to have it there or not. But yes, you could totally weigh in on that.
Is there a place where we could see the list of crosswalks?
Oh, yeah, so you'll get the application.
Oh, okay.
It'll be a part of the application.
Cool, awesome. Great, this is cool.
Tim, you mentioned the schools. Are we also thinking about parks specifically? For this, I'm thinking like the stop sign on Floyd next to Romans.
Yeah, so I mentioned schools only because I was thinking of kind of like the partner groups, but yes, having them near parks would be fantastic. Yeah, I think and I wasn't here when this was done last time, so I don't know exactly how it was done, but it seems like there was a heavy emphasis put on the business corridors, which is great, and we're not moving away from that. But we also want to think about, new placemaking can happen all around the city. So yes, around parks would be another phenomenal example of where this could happen.
How many do you think will be completed within that budget? Or how many are you hoping for?
Great question. So for the signal wraps, we have a better idea of how much they'll cost. So those typically run, and there's variations of cost for both, but those typically run somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. The crosswalks vary quite a bit for a lot of different reasons. The max amount, including installation, would be about $10,000, we think. So if we're talking $70,000 that we have now, any combination. So if you did 7 crosswalks, that would basically take the whole budget. You could do, a couple of signal wraps and then 5 or 6 crosswalks. It's really hard to know what the interest will be. So that's why we're trying to be somewhat fluid about how we do this. We're going to do a really big push, in the next couple of weeks, see what we get to bring to you, and then go from there. But yeah, that's kind of the rough estimate. Steve's kind of trying to figure out how the cost could be a little bit less. So one of the things is that with the crosswalks, it basically comes as like it's not quite a decal, but that's kind of basically what it is. And then they're burned on effectively onto the asphalt. So our traffic team is actually, most of them are trained in how to do that. So we think we can do most of the installation on our own. So that may shave off some of the cost.
What was the number on the wraps again?
I was told 1,500 to 3,000.
It's pretty comparable to 2019.
Yeah.
Which is great, because everything else is not.
It might be on the high end of that. They were on the low end last time, but I don't know.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know the reasoning behind having these crosswalks on streets that are 30 miles an hour or less? And the reason I'm asking is because I think of like places that these crosswalks might be really helpful on a street like Hampden, which is not 30 miles an hour or less in most parts, I think. But I'm just thinking about like the goal of Vision Zero in the way we see people drive on Hampden, that this could be something nice. I'm just curious, like, why is Hampden not
Yeah, that's a great question.
a possibility?
So we also have to be careful too. I believe Hampden, because 285 is a state highway. But we do have other examples of places like this where the speed might be a bit higher. I don't know. So the direct answer is I don't know.
Okay.
The longer answer is I could definitely try to find out by talking to our traffic engineer, and he wasn't here, but he has experience with this, and our public works director. I know it was approved by the ETAC board as well as by council in 2019, and I think it maybe has to. I'm making an educated guess, so it may have to do with visibility and with maybe some other rules and regulations. I'm not a traffic engineer, so I can't really speak to it, but.
The state highway thing makes sense now that I think.
And there may be some other requirements that the state has.
I wonder if it's just the same problem we're having with the media and art, just getting somebody to say, yeah, that works. That's just so hard from the state level.
It's crazy what they do too, because they like do the studies of people going at different miles per hour and then like, was it a distraction or was it visible,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
type of thing. So that's probably a safe mile per hour at this point, but it's probably always dependent on what you're actually putting there. I'd like to see 1,000,000 of them on Dartmouth. That's where I live. So I'm like,
I'd like
you
to
could
see
just,
someone.
you know,
Yeah.
just load them up.
Crosswalk, speed bump, crosswalks.
We could put a couple traffic circles in there.
I know this may be weird, so sorry, but is it okay maybe if I ask you all a question, which is, and I know I know some of the work that you've been doing, but are there, when we kind of do the call for artists, are there any kinds of themes that you'd like us to maybe include as examples, or I'm just trying to, you know, when you've seen these around the country, you've seen them even in Englewood, they often, like we had the fork and spoon one, right, that kind of matched the restaurant area. But do you kind of as a commission have goals you're trying to achieve, like themes around Englewood's history, themes around our quirkiness, themes around our location, like are there broad stroke themes that you'd like to see?
I don't think we've ever discussed it in terms of having a cohesive thing. We had been trying to match it to just the city theme that was been going on stuff, but not really specifically. Something that we could come up with.
I would say the only thing that we talked about last year was finding diverse artists. It was a big point for us. We would love to see some more diverse artists and bringing in some cultural things. So I would love to see, that's something that I would love to see.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, no, we haven't. I don't think we've had any discussions on cohesive themes. We could. Probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, not the worst idea.
Yeah.
Have some sort of idea what we're doing here.
Because I think what's interesting about the crosswalks is they can be, from what I can tell in different places, they can be organic and they can kind of match that area, but they can also, you know, if a place really is focused on, maybe it's by the water, maybe it's by one of our creeks or ponds or whatnot, and there's a water theme in that area, you know, or maybe it's a unique history, like we're doing them, you know, by Cinderella City, and so there's crosswalks that have those themes. I think that kind of can often help with the placemaking of a particular, because sometimes, you know, we've all seen public art that you're like, oh, that's cool, and I have no idea how this fits with anything. And also one thing I'd like to get to the point of is either, and I don't know how to do this, the best way of doing this, but maybe it's a QR code on the sidewalk or something next to it, or a plaque or something. Where, you know, we definitely plan to have a website that catalogs all these, but I'd really like, you know, somebody to know like what they're looking at when they're looking at it. And I think that helps with placemaking too, so.
Cool. Yeah, that would be worth the discussion. Anything else? Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to give Christine and maybe massive shout outs to for their support, their research, their preparation, and then I think we had about 14 people in the meeting on April 1st. So this is definitely something that city staff's really going on as well. So.
Great. Well, thanks, Tim. Okay, we'll move on to the city murals.
All right. Okay. I'm Lucia Magnuson, if you guys remember from, I think, February or last year. And this is Vanessa Davis. We're both in the communications department. And we've been trying so hard to get these murals underway, and we're so close. So first I'm going to talk about the intern mural and then the 3400 block mural, and then we'll talk about next steps because I need a little bit of guidance. For the intern mural project, so we have the location set, we have the design set, we've determined the budget for the mural, we're good on the budget. I made a mural installation plan, which is going to be executed mainly in June, where we're going to be priming the area, getting some stencils, and just marking up where exactly it's going to go on the wall. We decided on installation days, and I worked with HR to solidify those dates. So we're gonna do 2 morning sessions with our interns. So they'll sign up for that, and then we'll have specific tasks for each of the interns to complete on those days. Next, we just have to gather supplies and start priming, but installation will occur June 24th and June 27th, so that week, right before Sunset Concert Series. I was trying to hit that deadline.
Appreciate that.
So super exciting, all underway. It's gonna be super fun. Nice little selfie wall over there. For the 3400 block, so I've been going into Any and All Bikes. I've been calling Any and All Bikes. I finally made contact with the owner of Any and All Bikes. And they did not approve of the tiled mural. Their biggest concern was the weight of the tile. So if we were going to fix it on like some support stands, that old brick wouldn't support the weight. And then I also have tried to talk to Katrina, which is right across from there. And I've gone in twice, I've called twice, I left emails. And I haven't gotten any response in terms of getting owner contact information. I've also reached out to our economic development director to try to get a phone number. That ended in a dead end too. So I was trying so hard to make this happen. But with that, it gives us new opportunities to find different locations, but also potentially move the tile mural to a city facility. So we do have $10,000 dedicated in the wayfinding placemaking budget for a mural of some sort for uniquely Englewood. Right now, so this is a little old. There's been developments since I made this presentation. Any and all bike owners, I discussed the option of adding a painted mural versus a tiled mural. They're very concerned about that brick, and it's a historic building and it's so old. So they're nervous about the maintenance, upkeep, but also the fact that if it gets damaged, are they going to be able to get it off the brick so it's restored? There was just a lot of hesitation among the Any and All bike owners, but they were also trying to help me get in touch with Katrina, which also ended in a dead end, literally 4:30 p.m. today. So we have the money, but it's where we want to go from here. If we want to do a tiled mural, we have some options that we can do. So we can either move it to 2025 and then just start the process of trying to find a city facility or a park to install the tiled mural at, whether that's inside the rec center, Valley, wherever. So we could look into that. We can try to find more funding for this year and more locations for 2024. So that's another option. I can just keep trying to look for more business locations. We can use the $10,000 for a painted mural. Use the $24,000. What am I saying? $10,000 for the 3400 block mural, and do it at a city facility location instead. So move the tiled mural into a city location. Sorry, a painted mural at a city location. I'm losing it. So we have 3 options. Move it inside a city facility, look for more funding, because really we were having trouble with funding. If we were gonna have that brick off stand, it was gonna be roughly $17,000. So looking for more locations, and then either use that $10,000 for a painted mural somewhere else.
Are you saying with the tile mural, moving it to a stand in that same location instead of putting it on the building? Is that?
I've thought they also suggested that, like an offset stand. What I'm worried about is funding, because even just like the mounted offset was $17,000. So like having a fabricated stand, I'm assuming, I mean, I can look into it to get a price quote for it, but I just also, I didn't know if it was gonna look great.
Yeah.
And it was gonna be massive.
Well, and there might be other options of art for that place. Okay.
glad Mally has been wanting a mural or something like this for a long time. So that might be a great location. And it's near the 3400 block,
It
just
is.
not on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with uniquely themed,
Yeah, it's unique there.
anything. So we could do that. So direction needed, if you want to pursue do you even want to pursue a painted mural and deviate from the tiled mural or that main uniquely Englewood one?
But, so Indiana All Bikes is still concerned with the painting on the brick, is that correct? But any other building you haven't talked to?
The other one, I can't get in contact with the building owner. I've been trying.
It'd be cool to have something there, but I wonder if it's just gonna be too much of a headache and make people too nervous. If there's like maybe a way we could put in or do a call in the future for a sculpture or another piece of art that could go there.
Yeah.
Or if we've been working on this median art for a really long time, that has been taking forever to get state approval on, and I think we're almost to the point of bailing on it, although we don't have an update yet.
You'll get one.
We'll get one today. Then maybe that's a place we could consider something like that instead of the mural, and then move a mural to another location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really it's, if you want a painted mural, I mean, we could do painted or tile, but we could pursue a painted mural at Mally. And are you okay with the location change? Because it's not going to be on that East Paseo right now, unless I can miraculously get in contact with Katrina. And then if you still want to pursue that tiled mural, which I think it would just be the cutest idea. I feel like if we do a tiled mural, we should do it at Englewood Rec Center inside to just avoid damage, potential damage that could happen.
What was the size of the mural again? Or the tile mural?
12 feet by 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
And we already scouted location. I was like, we've already looked to see if it's even a possibility.
Okay.
Yeah, the track, around the track. is
Oh,
what
that'd
we
be
were
really
thinking.
cool.
That's a
Okay.
cool
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. So, two options. Tiled mural, we could just fully do the tiled mural, look at rec center to add that tiled mural. It might be delayed a little bit. Like, we're not gonna be working within the parameters of like that block party end date. So it might just be a fall end date if we wanted to do that. Or we could just do a painted mural at Mally for that $10,000.
Lucia, have you scouted other locations in the downtown area that's not the city owned besides the Paseo?
Yeah, the only other one was the Kaufman's building, but I heard that one was getting changed, like they were gonna remove the building. So I just heard rumors about it, but that was the only one that had like a 3400 block, like outward facing, like walkable place.
Did you ask Mango Tree? It's not 3400, it's one down.
No, we haven't.
I was thinking like the downtown corridor, not necessarily 3400, but there's a lot of other places that are more core to the downtown than Mally. Just wasn't sure if you guys had explored any of that.
We have only looked at the 3400 block for now, but we can expand if we want. But it might take me a while to get a building owner, which is, just on my part, that's just a reflection.
Mango owns their building, that's a little easier.
Okay.
They do have a mural on the back.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
towards the parking lot.
Yep.
That one.
With what the EDDA is planning to do also in the Paseo area, I feel like it might be not worth it to pursue more stuff in there because it's already going to be so full, I think, with what they're planning.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would be worth your time to even continue trying to talk to somebody
Yeah.
personally, but.
Yeah, we're getting a presentation from Hillary next week about everything that's happening in the Paseo too. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I don't know what you need from us, but I think it'd be cool to have it in a different place. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is anybody opposed to it?
Yeah, essentially, do you still want to pursue the tiled mural? If so, most likely it's going to be at ERC, maybe, if you're okay with it. And then if we want to do a painted mural, most likely it'll be at Maui, if you're okay with it. So really, we're just like reflecting back on like, I'm going back to city facility. Yeah, for this year, for funding, we can only do one or the other. Yeah.
Would the one at Maui be on the outside of the building?
Yeah, probably. Actually,
They've asked for something for.
they have. They've wanted, there's one of their parking lot walls gets tagged
Oh,
regularly.
yeah.
And so they were hoping maybe a mural would deter that. I get protecting the tile, but it might be protected if we do the right coat, finishing coat on it. And that could also be a cool location because it does get a lot of street traffic, but it's not as much as like Mango Tree. So.
Yeah. I think it's fine to go with the city facility. It's gonna be easier, honestly.
Yeah.
I like all those locations, but Maui or Mango Tree.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and recently, so we put some community message board signs up in the parks, and within like 48 hours, they got smashed because they were glass panel. And then that made me like be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't put tile out in the open air just in case people like do take some type of object to it.
They may not. It's.
I know, that's the thing. We don't know.
It's hit miss, literally.
Yeah, exactly. That was the only thing where I was like, oh, be in.
And another area, and this isn't very fantastic, but like park restrooms,
Yes.
we get taggings often on the outside of the park restrooms and they're blank canvases literally. And so that would be another location.
Yeah.
I would not for this project, let's not put this on a restroom, but just to keep that in mind, if we do get an influx and have funding, that might be another area to spruce up some restrooms, parks, things like that.
Definitely.
You don't have the money though to put a tiled mural outside right now, is that correct?
It just depends on the location. So like the restriction we were having with cost was if it was just fixed to a wall and it wasn't brick was the limitation. If it was just a smooth wall, it would be roughly $7,000. Whereas if it was like a brick wall where they had to like put it on a board, offset it a little bit so it wasn't flush with the brick, that increased it by $4,000. Yeah. So if we can find a really pretty flush wall, then possibly, but it's just one of those things where like even the restrooms, like it's like a cement block, yeah, where there's like deep grooves in it. So there's one spot on the track that has a smooth wall.
Okay.
Where the sun comes in, it's beautiful.
Noise happened for years.
I think financially, the painted mural won't be able to accomplish because there's still some unknowns with the installation piece and
Yes.
the cost goes up depending on where that goes.
So we could like plan it for 2025.
The tiles. That would give everybody more time to go
And then
shopping.
that way we can do it like over the
Yes.
summer with.
Yeah.
Block
'Cause
party.
we don't have a design for the tiles yet, right? That's still
No.
part of the process.
Yeah.
That might be something for 2025 is kind of get the mural done and then we'll be working on the design piece of it and have that ready to launch probably at the first event, maybe. We'll talk about
Yeah.
those logistics, but
Yeah.
that would buy us more time for the tiles to get it done right.
I think that's perfectly fair. 2025 tiles, 2024 paint.
Yeah. In that case, I would be inclined to say we should go for Maui.
Okay, sounds good.
I mean,
I'll scout
I
out
agree.
location.
Maybe-
You'll scout.
Like-
Get dinner.
They have something we'll know immediately.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay,
Pictures of it.
so I'm gonna get with Maui staff and determine those locations. And then from there, once I have those locations, I'll draft a call for artists and then maybe in June, I'll have an update for you guys.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's next month, you know.
I know,
that sounds good too.
yeah, great.
Yep.
My pace is fast.
Yeah. Awesome.
Let's try to be fast.
It's good to see something happen this year.
Yeah, but the intern mural, It's great.
happening.
It's, that's the easiest one.
No judging everybody.
No, we're gonna make it good, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they like college interns or high school interns?
College.
And they're paid.
Yes. They're gonna be just,
They're
yeah,
paid.
it's a team building event.
Yeah, having breakfast.
That sounds really fun, actually.
Yeah.
You guys, if I come down.
Coming out of college?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you guys can come.
What were the dates, 24th and 27th?
24th, 27th, 9 a.m. to noon. I tried to do the morning so it wasn't as hot, yeah, on that side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
guys
guys
stop
are
by,
Yeah,
cheer them on.
it's gonna be great. But that's all I have for an update.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
it was
Good
great.
job, guys. I want to get hit by a paint roller.
Yeah, you guys can contribute,
Yeah.
help us out.
Get it. All right, moving on to old business, media and art update.
Well, we have some exciting updates. First one, we'll start with the negative piece. Well, I bet you can't pin me down is gonna have to move locations. It has rebar in it. Never thought about this, but if a car were to hit it, that rebar could
Oh,
really
yeah.
hurt somebody. And so we would like to propose moving it out to a pedestal that's in the amphitheater. It will fit. We've already talked to artists just to see if that was even an option. He loved it. And it's a remaining pedestal that's empty. There's nothing on it but some bolts sticking out. So it'd be a perfect location. It's off the ground. It's somewhat protected. And if you haven't noticed the amphitheater yesterday and today, oh my gosh, got painted.
It's
It
gorgeous.
looks so, I just can't stop staring at it. It's so clean.
Is that it right now?
It is.
Oh, nice.
It was just white on Monday, and I'm like, I don't care if you quit right now.
It looks
It looks so much better.
So, the Englewood logo, the big circle logo you see like here and other locations, that's gonna go right in the middle of that black part in the middle. There you
Oh,
go.
nice.
And then
Oh, so
Tony, as
cute.
part of her sponsorship program, has worked with Fast Signs, and they've created some artwork that could spruce it up, add some color, and that's what's being proposed. I believe,
That would be cool at a crosswalk. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing it
oh
out
yeah,
All of the shapes.
So
except it's green.
they're gonna move down a little bit, and
there. Oh, it's too much.
there's gonna be some white in there, just to keep
The
it.
middle panels, I think the background is white, but you still got the pop of color.
Add more color to the green out.
Yeah. And so, and then the You Can't Pin Me Down would go on the pedestal, and he can get close to color matching those colors in those panels hanging, and so I think it'll be a nice tie-in all the way through.
So that would be in the back.
Yeah, so like if we're looking at the amphitheater, the pedestal's like right over here.
Oh.
Kind of like
It's off to
right.
the side.
It's right out of this
Where the
picture.
cursor.
Yeah, it's just, if you peek at it, if you parked out that way tonight or next meeting, but
I actually like that way better than being on the street, because I feel like this, you could actually like
The artist,
hang out and look at it.
yeah.
the artist is really excited about the opportunity to have us out here.
So are you all okay moving that piece to the amphitheater to become that art?
Yeah, we probably have to make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead, do it, make it official if you guys want us.
I'll make a motion to move the You Can't Pin Me Down to the amphitheater.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
So our next goal is to get that installed before our next meeting, go out there and look at it, so,
It can be done at any time.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
nothing. And then the panels, Fast Signs will work on getting those, completed and hopefully be installed by end of June or early July, maybe sooner. We're gonna keep talking to them, try to speed up. The faster we can get everything implemented here, I think it will just deter some of the challenges that we've had with tagging and people hanging out and stuff. So yeah, it looks awesome.
He's ready to paint. We have communications helped us pick the colors for the balls on the artwork, so told me let him know in the morning and said he'd be ready to paint.
And if you guys get a chance, go through the circle, they've done a ton of landscaping down there too. It
Like by
looks-
the fountain.
Yeah, this whole area, they ripped out all the old bushes and put in new plants
Cool.
and it just looks good. It looks clean. So very excited about that. And then the other piece, Rainbow Point, we're still waiting for the stamped engineer's drawings. More details were needed by CDOT, so it hasn't been rejected yet. Like, you can't pin me down, it's still in process, so.
But somebody's talking.
Somebody's talking, we got a contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's still in progress. If for some reason that one's gotta move, we have a new location out here it can move to that MOA removed.
Let's just fill up the whole.
We'll just keep filling out. So we have options of putting it other places if.
That kind of brings up the question of if that's the case, if that one doesn't go,
Yeah.
well, then are we gonna,
We
should we
may-
keep pursuing putting stuff in
Yeah,
the
we may
median?
want to rethink it. Our city manager is really pushing to get art in the medians, but it's becoming more of a challenge than I think anybody anticipated.
Yeah.
And so we'll have that conversation. If Rainbow Point gets rejected, I have concerns with the pieces that have been submitted for the new call. Some might work, but some are still very questionable. So we may have more challenges with that. So yeah, it may have to move to park locations or other city areas that we can display this art.
It could kind of be Loveland and do a car walk.
It's considered backwards planning from CDOT, like getting all of their specifications first and then doing a call that was very tailored.
We try, yeah, so we're learning more, but they're not transparent until you're in it. And they're like, oh, like that you can't pin me down. There wasn't anything specified. Well, we didn't really think about rebar, but only colors were specified and if it was reflective or not. And then they started looking at the materials. By the time we get through this next call, if we choose a piece and put it in the median, we'll be ready to go. But that's the challenge. We don't have a ton of medians left after we do Hampden. We'll have some on Broadway possibly, but yeah, that's a good point. They have been a challenge, and they're very specific once you get a hold of somebody. So, and do you want to talk about the judging?
So I have the artwork ready to be judged. Did speak to Martin kind of how, whether I went through the art submitted and said, okay, this, and this does not meet CDOT's requirements or that. Talking to Martin, we decided it's better to have you guys view all the art. And then I have some guidelines that I've kind of come up with, very much kind of what even Tim had presented on his crosswalks, the shapes, the colors, you know, those type things we need to avoid. And there's not, I don't think, any shapes on the artwork submitted, but there are some colors maybe that would interfere or anything that would reflect.
There's a few pieces that move that would potentially cause reflections.
Reflection problems.
Yeah. So I've come up with some guidelines that I will forward those to you, along with the artist statements, photos of artwork, the budget, dimensions, that type thing, and there'll be a form, and then just have you guys rate. We kind of talked about kind of coming up with how you guys want to judge. Do you want to judge it like, I think if we did 1 to 5, we could end up with pieces too close to, do you know what I mean? So do you want to use a scale of like 1 to 8 or something like that? And then do you want me to bring back the top 5 choices?
Yeah,
And
I
then
think that's probably the best is to.
That's a good way to narrow it down.
Yeah,
So we would be rating it just based on which ones we like the most, not so much based on this right off the bat, or taking this into account as well.
taking this into account.
I think, yeah, we would need to try to eliminate the ones that don't follow the guidelines in those ways. I know Debbie's concern was that she just didn't want to be the one making that decision.
I don't want to be the one saying, no.
That makes sense. I was just curious if we were like, let's just rate them all, and, you know.
There's one submittal, it was oil painting. So that one I'm not even going to include because that
How
one's.
did that?
There's some you'll see. I mean, did you include the $200,000 piece?
Oh yeah, you have to put that one in just so we can see.
Yeah.
And then some submitted like that. It was well out of the budget and they still submitted it. So it's kind of like,
I know, Hills,
You're
Don't
like,
pick that one.
I think
we
you
don't
hit
have
too
a
many
budget.
zeros.
Yeah.
Did you misread something?
It's 2,000.
There is one piece I did, the primary piece that he had submitted was bright red. So I did reach out to the artist and said, I'm just letting you know, I don't think this is something that, CDOT is going to approve. And he goes, I had that concern also. I think he'd worked with CDOT before. But he did say, he goes, I have not had it powder coated yet. So he did send some updated photos that, is it patina? Is that what you call it? So I have those photos in place, and he did say also that he could paint it if there's another color you guys want to consider, so.
Would it be helpful for some, well, we could all do it, or if it would be helpful for everybody else, maybe I could do it, and Kyle, we could just go through these guidelines and eliminate those ones and have everybody vote on that, or do you all want to?
It may make it easier for you guys for judging.
How many pieces? 20?
I think there were like 27 total,
Or if we all.
but
Oh, that's not bad. I was thinking it was like 100.
no, there's,
I mean, I kind of want to see them all, especially the ones that are like
Yeah.
egregiously
Also,
not gonna work.
If we end up not putting them in the median, it would be nice to have seen all of them and just kind of imagine where they could be if that's not something that we can move forward with.
Yeah,
potentially.
that's another benefit. I mean, there might be some really awesome pieces we see that won't work in a medium, but could be
Could
really
work
excellent
somewhere
somewhere
else.
else. So, yeah, some cool stuff.
I know
Okay.
that there's also potential for a median on Old Hampden too. They're gonna have a possibly, it sounds like we're gonna do it.
so I will send you the guidelines, and I just need to merge it into a PDF and reduce size, and we'll make sure it'll get mailed out. If not, I'll do it in 2 separate documents.
And we can communicate via email with that as long as we keep you on the email. Is that correct?
Is that extra work for you to have to give all of them to us?
No. I just have a couple more of the ones that I had not included. I had all the ones I felt that fit within the guidelines. I'm just merging in the few that I had eliminated out, so.
I just want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can guess which ones they are.
Great.
Okay.
Well,
The $200,000 ones.
You just have to sell one.
Yeah.
So like
That list that you put up there, Debbie,
Yeah.
have we ever gotten a copy of that? Is that something you could send to us?
No,
Would you
and I
send
will
the
send
call?
that with the,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
great. Anything else on the median art? All right, music for the Englewood markets. I have one group confirmed for the August market. I have another person who emailed me, who has been emailing me, who is not confirmed, but I gave them the choice of the other 2 dates that I have. Another person who said they were interested. So I thought I would have that all confirmed by this week, but it's the music business, that's not the news.
Learning it well.
Yeah, maybe. So hopefully that stuff will get all confirmed by Friday, I hope. If they don't answer me by tomorrow, I'm gonna look elsewhere. Yeah, that's my only update. I was hoping to have a full roster, but I didn't. Anything else? Okay, upcoming events.
So on the May 11th is Celebrate, which is number 2, believe it or not, because we had a hop and shop. So kind of our kickoff to summer, I guess we can say. So that's going to be exciting. It's going to be here in the circle. We have 27 vendors, and then about, I think, 15 internal type vendors as well. So it's going to be really big and exciting. The only sad part is no puppies.
What?
I know, sad day. The people that we work with, actually, Dave Lewis, our code enforcement manager, he usually lines all of that up and they're unable to make it. And he didn't want to just go on with any other adoption. He wants to vet them and everything beforehand. So I've tried. I'm like, please, please. He's like, I'm like, I'll find some. And he's like, no, that's the problem. That's not what we want. I'm like, okay. So no puppies. I'm sorry, but there's going to be a lot of cool things there. And super excited for it. And then, yeah, we have that in May, and then June we'll have our first market, and then July is off the hook. So it's going to be tons of stuff. Super excited. And then also excited that Redline should be in hopefully by the 1st of July as well. And the Guild has their space, and I know that Historic Englewood's also working in their space. So that's going to be pretty active here before we know it. And then with all of the stuff going on down with the amphitheater and the planting, and it's going to be a new vibrant area and space. So I'm super excited. The fountain is on, so that's exciting. But yeah, so if you guys know anyone that want to be a part of any of the events as a vendor or sponsor, otherwise just come to the events and enjoy. But almost have the lineup done for the block party and have the 3 concerts, artists all set up for Yay! And it's June, and it's only May 1st.
All right, on to staff's choice.
No update for me. Tony gave the fun update. Good job.
Commissioner's choice.
Debbie, did you have the photo that I sent you? Oh. If not, that's okay. I just, I went to the meeting that the EDDA had last week at One Barrel, the event, and they kind of had a presentation board that had photos of all the things that they're planning in the alley behind, what's it called? Like Gallo and all of that area. And it's all going to be kind of focused on like flower kind of, so like carnations and all of that, which is really exciting. I think that it's going to speak to like the history of Englewood and also be beautiful. So I don't know if we need to do anything, or I know that you've talked to them as well, but it's actually planned and happening. So I think it will be ready for the block party, and they're going to have, what do they call it? Knit bombing. So they're going to like wrap things in not fabric, but like yarn, and have an artist from Meow Wolf come and do like these big flowers. So I think it's going to be really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing it and kind of seeing what it brings to that space back there, because it is just kind of dead and sad, but summertime rolls around and everything in Englewood just becomes like brighter and beautiful in general. So it's really, I don't know, I'm looking forward to it, and that's okay. I can also email out the photo. It was just a photo of the,
opening up.
okay, it's just a photo of the board. It's probably not that good, but it has some of their like inspo photos on it of what they're planning.
Is it the Lincoln Broadway alley? Kind of.
Yeah.
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 And the Mammal Wolf, that yarn installation is going, that's just temporary, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of incorporated into the, so I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit, but they're doing like these painted doilies up in the like right corner. You can kind of see that. Yeah. So it's led by, the Ladies Fancy Work Society.
What a cool name.
Isn't that cute? I love it.
Oh, so down the strip right there, they're gonna activate all of that with this art?
Yep.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be really big. So you can kind of see, if you scroll down a little bit on it too, I think you can see the Paseo has some of that. Yeah, so at the bottom, that's the Paseo that we were talking about earlier that is with any and all bikes. So that whole area will have some of those flowers, and just all of this artwork will be painted throughout. I do not believe any of the artists are from Englewood.
I sent them the list of Englewood artists.
Yeah, from what I understand, they did not choose any Englewood artists, but
Is that the alley like where the parking lots are?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
that Lincoln lot.
Like when you come
bottom.
back,
Yeah.
behind, okay.
So like tabletop tap, they're gonna be building out their outdoor patio, I guess, too. So that's like in the middle, you can kind of
I
see all
forgot
those
they
dots.
moved.
Yeah, so that whole area should be really, really cool coming this summer.
Initially, I had talked to them about the crosswalk that had gotten wrecked from the utility thing.
Oh, yeah.
They were asking about replacing that, but then they have this idea that's up there.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought they had said that there was gonna be more, but I don't know.
I think that there might be, but this is the initial push will be all of this. And they even have a name for it if you scroll up a little bit in the blue box in the left. Yeah. Yarn Garden Alley will be the kind of vibe of it all. So I think it'll be really fun and colorful. Anyway,
I thought this was a really good example, like of a cohesive theme, right? Where it's kind of two themes, where it's number one, kind of leaning into the history of Englewood as being Carnation City, but then number two, kind of leaning into the theme of so many different like art and craft type stores kind of popping up in the downtown area.
it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see it come together.
Ladies, fancy roses.
So good. Yeah, anyway, that's all I have.
Nice.
It's a good update.
Okay. Anything else?
As Tim mentioned, we were talking about our capital improvement plan for the budget this year. We are currently in the ranking priority process, and it will come back to us in June,
Yes.
I think.
Yes, it's the next check.
Where we're giving input. And so as Tim mentioned, the $100,000 for placemaking is competing against everything else in the plan. And so to the extent that you are interested in supporting that or, speaking to your city council person, there's an opportunity to do so. So just making you aware of that. That's all I got.
Great. If that's it, let's adjourn at 6:45.
An hour.